You don't typically think of magic as being an academic exercise, but a couple of years ago, two doctors, two neuropsychologists, wanted to study how the human brain thinks about, or how it sees, how we interpret what we see. And so they did a lot of studies, but they interviewed a number of magicians. And one of the phrases they came up with is that magicians are artists of attention and awareness. A sculptor is an artist of shape. A musician is an artist of sound. But a magician is an artist of attention and awareness. To demonstrate that, I have here poker chips and my two hands. As I do this routine, you're going to be inclined to think that there is something else at play. I've got foamy fingers, or I'm using my sleeves, or strings, or wires, or mirrors, or additional chips, or whatever. I assure you that everything in this routine you see right here. There's nothing more. What I'm going to do is to take these chips and have them fly from one hand to the other. Now, typically when this is done, magicians do it in what we call in the hand. So they're closed up in the hand. But I'm actually going to leave the chips out here in the open where you can see them. And one at a time, they're going to fly from the fingertips of one hand to the fingertips of the other. And to do this, all I have to do is manage your attention and your awareness. 1, 2, 3. Managing your attention and awareness is best accomplished on the offbeat, basically when you get bored watching, and the first chip comes across, leaving 2 behind. So that's 1 chip that has made the transfer and 2 more chips that have to come across. Let's watch this again. Now, as you're looking, you can watch the 2, it's called attend. You can attend to the 2 in my left hand and be aware of the 1 in my right. Or you can pay attention to the 1 in my right and be aware of the 2 in my left. But you can do that because they're close together. If I simply stretch out my hands, you can't, and the second chip comes across, leaving 1 behind. Now the third one's the most visual. I want you to watch carefully as the third chip comes across. 1, 2, 3. That's visual. That's very visual. You were probably hoping for visual and magical, right? So let me try that again. We have 1 chip in the left hand, 2 in the right. So that's 1 in the left hand and 2 in the right, 3 in the right. That's 1, 2, 3 in the right. Be sure that is 1, 2, 3, and nothing more. But it's stranger than that. I have the 3 chips in my hand here. 3 chips in my hand. If I take 1 of the chips and simply put it into my pocket, I still have 3 chips in my hand. And if I take none of the chips, there's literally nothing here, and I simply blew on it over here, well, it can't vanish, it was always gone, but now there's only 2 chips here. 1, 2. And if I take the 1 and I place it into my pocket, well, see, now you're catching on. Now you're beginning to realize that as this chip is placed into my pocket, as it disappears into the folds of my pocket, this chip, this 1 in my right hand, will become 2. As this one disappears, the 1 will become 2. Of course, the opposite's also true. This could vanish and 2 could appear over here. And when this one goes into my pocket, there could be 2 up here. And if I take 1 of these invisibly, just blow on it, now there's only 1 left over here. So with that 1 chip that's left, 1 chip here, if I take it and I place it into my pocket, 1 chip appears in my right hand. But here's the rub. I've been telling you I have no extra chips, and yet I'm still holding on to the 1 in my pocket. And if I'm holding on to 1 in my pocket and I've got 1 in my hand, there must be an extra chip. Well, there is an extra chip. It's an extra large chip. And that is managing attention and awareness.